have to make it less tedious and more meaningful to work and live in a community association, and that's what this is all about.
Ryan, we're finally here. It's can't believe it. So, unbelievable. Do you remember our first interaction, the first time you saw ONR, and how has your perception about who we are changed?
Somebody on my team, we were at a trade show, somebody on my team tapped me on my shoulder and said, "That looks really cool. We need to find out what that is. That looks really cool." And you know what? We found out. We were impressed that day. That was several years ago now. And then when we dove much deeper back in recently, it's like, wow, they've done a lot. This is a really game-changing product.
Let me tell you what I remember. We went to Vegas to the first trade show, and we were used to everyone in the industry looking kind of like a banker in a way, like a finance bro or something. And when we show up, you guys are all wearing green Converse. And, I was just like, okay, so you can be cool in this industry. That was our first interaction. Then we were around and we realized that you guys were the biggest, accounting software, the biggest software company in the space. So we were like, kind of amazed. We said, those guys have to be from San Francisco.
Well, let's be clear. You've always been much cooler than us, though. Let's not be clear.
I don't think so. But the role of community living keeps changing. And, I've only been in the industry for about 6 years now. So I can tell you that I came on board, at a very fast changing time. How do you see the needs of the industry, the needs of managers, residents changing, and how are you tackling those changes?
Well, look, the bar is climbing. People aren't willing to accept that 1990s, maybe early 2000s experience when they live in a community association anymore. That disjointed experience of, wait, I can shop, order a car, order food real easily, but it's a real pain for me to communicate with my manager and then sign up over here to do this and then do that and then fill out a paper form for this. People aren't willing to accept that anymore, and they shouldn't. And it's the same change that started in the office of the association management company that, wait, this is crazy. Why am I doing things this way? The residents are saying the same thing now.
It is. We like to call it the fragmented resident experience, which is also a fragmented management experience. I mean, as a manager, you want to talk to to the people living in your community. You send out a mass notification via email, but then you want to let them know that, there is something happening, and so you go to your accounting software to send out another type of communication, and then you want to allow people to do voting. So you have another application with multiple passwords, with multiple experiences, with multiple points of failure, so that is definitely driving kind of like that, tedious feeling, that managers have. And then you translate that to the resident. The resident also now has multiple experiences. The Facebook group where they're communicating with the neighbors, the WhatsApp where they communicate with management, the meeting on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. where they show up to the board meeting. It's so broken.
Yeah. Find out whether your package has been delivered here. Reserve the amenity room here.
It's like I go to my condo and I'm back in the 1950s, and as soon as I get back to work, I'm back in 2025. It makes no sense. I think we can really put that to bed. Yeah, hell yeah. Well, what's in it for managers? As an immediate kind of goodness that we can give them. They have been waiting for this all-in-one dream for years and years, and when they heard about the acquisition, they were extremely excited, and I'm getting bombarded with emails. What can managers expect from day one?
We talk a lot at CINC, and we have been talking a lot at CINC about less tedious, more meaningful. How can we spend less time on the tedious and more time on the meaningful? No one got into this business to be a manager saying, you know what, I'm really looking forward to a manager working at an association management company. No one got into it saying, I really want to enter invoices by hand. I really enjoy the multi-step process of creating a violation. What's really fun? Putting board packets together every month. Like
no one ever.
I said, no one ever. And putting these are tedious elements, but the truth is this:
if you want to make things less tedious and more meaningful, you can't make it less tedious to work at a community association and not make it less tedious to live in a community association. You have to attack both. If you make it less tedious to work there, but you don't make it less tedious to live there, those people whose job allegedly just got less tedious are going to get bombarded by the residents who are dealing with tedious. If you go the other way, it doesn't work either. To be a truly all-in-one solution for the manager, for the people who live there, for the people who work there, you have to attack both. You have to make it less tedious and more meaningful to work and live in a community association. And that's what this is all about.
And very soon, the leadership of management companies. Also, we're excited about that one. Well, so managers from day one get to experience or to use or leverage this beautifully designed application where now they get to interact with residents in a more meaningful way, let's call it. What's in it for the resident? What changes for the resident?
For the residents, they finally have that all-in-one experience. It's actually connected to the system that everybody is using. We're finally living in one place. But it's the chance to engage, right? It's the chance as a resident to engage. We have lived in this world where, in effect, your association is your local government, right? It is in many places.
Form of government.
100%. And whatever you consider your local government has pushed a lot of that responsibility to the association, and we've met the minimum bar. But it's time to shoot a little high.
Collecting fees, those taxes, right? I mean, but then you have to go a step beyond. You need to give owners a voice, residents ways to use services in a way that is also meaningful to them. I mean, I think, there's so much to be done, and I'm so excited about it, but let's fast forward to 2030. Fast forward to community living 2030. What does it look like? What does it feel like?
Well, I'll tap my crystal ball now. It is, if you look at any other hospitality industry, it is, we move from that bar of, you go to a hotel. Yes, you can check in. Yes, you can do these minimum tasks, but you go there to do so much more. That's what it should be like to live in an association. You're living in that association. You're proud of. It's not when you tell your friend, I live in a community association, they're not saying back, oh, what's yours like? They're saying back, oh, what do you have? In mine, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. Imagine that world. What a great world.
So it's like people being proud of the communities where they live because of the services that are delivered to them, and kind of, having that sense of community that goes beyond just my neighbors are nice, but my community is really cool.
I've got this incredible community. And oh, by the way, I have access to these offers because I live in my community. I have the ability to do this because I live in my community. I have the ability to do that because I live in my community that someone else in another building can't have. And suddenly this is distinguishing. I'm excited about this. I'm proud of the fact that my association is delivering to me capabilities I wouldn't have if I lived down the street.
And listen, I've been, to some of those hotels. Morgan's Hotel Group is one that comes to mind, or the Addition, where when you talk to the staff at one of those hotels, you really get a sense that staff are very proud. They really want to delight the resident. They want to give them an amazing experience. And then when you get back home, you kind of feel that managers are kind of given tools that are subpar, or that, they don't feel as proud. But, when you kind of translate or move that hospitality feeling, that hospitality experience into the community living world, I think you're really changing lives.
Well, and because what matters more, the hotel you go to for 5 nights a year, or the house you live in, or the condo you live in for the other 360 days a year?
Oh yeah. I think that is definitely a game changer, and I look forward to a 2030 where residents are happy and management teams are successful.
There's a mission to get behind, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, AI and automation. The concept that AI is here to take our job, and that the world is changing at a fast pace, and AI is definitely helping that change happen. How is CINC visualizing the way in which AI will transform our industry?
if we speak of it as a technology, Sync has been leading the way. We introduced the first day. I mean, you and I were joking earlier. We introduced our AI technology so quickly we had to rename it because we needed to make sure we had all the trademarks and everything right. Right? It's we've been leading the way in this because we see opportunity there. We continue to invest at crazy levels. But let's set AI aside. It's not about AI. What we are going after is how do we make the tedious tasks easier? How do we make them disappear completely? How do we make it easier so the managers can go spend time with what matters, the human interaction, those relationships? That's the service that a community association management company provides, is those human interactions. No one says, you know what, my management company really enters invoices better than anybody else.
Or mine says AI.
Yeah,
who cares?
No, you don't care about it. Like, what they care about is, does my manager have time to interact with me in a way today that was meaningful?
Yeah. Actually, we were going through a demo with one of our accounts. A few months later, we went back and we asked them, "How are you using AI?" You know, the beta version that we launched recently. The way in which they're using AI, we would have never imagined. You know, the manager actually showed us some of those prompts. Would you please create a communication about the 10 most important rules or regulations for our residents to keep in mind as written for a 10-year-old? As soon as that communication is ready, would you please translate it into Portuguese and Spanish and send it to the Spanish as well as to the Portuguese group? All of a sudden, the manager is looking like they speak multiple languages. They send out these beautifully drafted communications in a human way in a few clicks. It's beautiful.
And what a great example, because nothing went away there. The manager was actually able to do more. And that's the power of it.
Powerful. Well, the game changer. If you had to name one thing about this partnership that, you know, that makes you excited, that you feel is that total game changer, what would it be?
I love the ONR product today. I love everything about it. It is by far the best resident experience in this space. But this combination is not about today. This combination is about what we can build going forward. We just hired the greatest group of people to build products to face residents in the country and put it together. That is CINC was built from the back end forward. ONR was built from the front end backward. And we were able to put that together. And that's great for what it is today. But the pace of iteration on that resident experience just grows and gets faster and faster. And to me, that's the game changer. It's how we run at 2030. This is the only way to get there because we finally have the first truly all-in-one software serving this industry.
The complete vision. You know, I think it's that nirvana that everyone's been dreaming of. So balancing tech and humanity, and you know, in a tech-driven world where we're really trying to push the latest innovation and, you know, get everyone on their phones, their apps, their whatever technology we're trying to push down their throats, you can kind of feel that the human element is lost. And many managers are very, you know, kind of worried about AI taking over, or, you know, many of those human interactions no longer being necessary. What is your vision?
My vision is, how great if you get rid of the tedious interactions. No one is excited to call and ask, "Yeah, where do I get my key fob for my pool?" That's not the interaction that wins them over and makes them love the community. But if those questions can be answered, maybe they are answered without a human interaction. Then when the interaction happens about something that's more meaningful, you can actually have a real discussion. You can have a discussion about solving that thorny governance issue with that board. You can have a discussion about, here's some perks we could bring to the community. Oh, here are some special deals from local vendors who would like to offer this to the community. Like that's getting into a discussion that's next level and differentiating. So it becomes more human. That's exactly what our clients, the management companies can provide, is something that's more meaningful.
That makes sense. Kind of using technology so that the manager will have time to send out birthday communications to the residents. And that all of a sudden is really human. I mean, it's those kinds of interactions, I think, is what you get at hotels, at very high-end hotels.
It's a great point.
You get that, you know, Carlos, I noticed that when you left last time, you left Snickers, in the trash. I know they like Snickers. Here's a bar as soon as you check in. Those kind of things are impossible to be able, to get to that level if you don't have kind of the information available, but a human that translates that information into a certain kind of action.
Get to spend time where you can be more differentiated. You can do something different for that community.
We have seen that staying ahead of the curve in this industry that is constantly changing, and the demands of residents are changing, laws are changing every day pretty much. How do we stay ahead of the curve here at CINC?
Well, you know how we said that it is important for managers to be out talking to residents. It's really important for the CINC team, the CINC and ONR team, to be interacting with the managers, the owners of management companies, the CEOs of management companies, the accountants at management companies. And that's where you see what they're experiencing. That's where you see what tedious tasks are dragging them down. And then you attack that tedious task.
Oh, yeah.
You go after it. You make it go away. It's that input, those interactions that's how you stay ahead. Technology is great. Technology by itself does nothing. Technology has to be applied for the problem. If you treat AI like a hammer and go looking for nails, you got a problem. But if you find a bunch of nails sticking up, now you've got an even better hammer to potentially go after them with.
I'm assuming that's how we even got to be sitting here. I mean, I'm assuming as you were talking to managers and they were telling you that the tools that they used kind of were lacking something, and they found something off the shelf. I think that's how we started integrating the both products.
I mean, we heard people saying, gosh, I love CINC Admit. This ONR pieces, it's like, maybe these should be together.
Like rum and Coke. It just works well together.
That's later.
That's later. Yeah, Sasha, please hold on to those drinks. Ryan, we have seen that when we're out in the field speaking with those management company leaders, the ones who are buying other management companies, the ones that seem to be thriving, are really focusing on resident demands, the resident needs. Why do you think that is?
I love talking to CEOs and owners of management companies and people who work in management companies. And when I talk to somebody like a Steve Wecklew at Ardor, Steve is thinking about, how do I deliver something so differentiating? How do I create so much value that I can capture some of that value? This is a tough business. It's tough to run a management company. But if you're delivering that kind of value and you can capture it, that can change the profitability of your management company. But imagine
hospitality. That is very hospitality.
True hospitality, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if you had a great offer for a resident, but if you aren't doing anything else for that resident, how are you even going to deliver that? If they aren't engaged in your app, if they aren't engaged in your website, if they aren't engaged with you, the management company, in any other way than getting violations or getting annual meeting notices, how do you even deliver that great offer to them to let them know you have something wonderful for them? And the people I see thinking ahead are thinking about that. Wow, with engaged residents, it creates so many opportunities for me to deliver more value and capture some of that.
I've had conversations with a few of those leaders who have mentioned, while everyone is competing for that one monthly maintenance fee or assessment fee, there are 5 to 6 people within that home that are reserving the tennis courts, that are losing key fobs, that are looking for a car wash, that are looking for different services that you could actually be having one transaction per day from that unit, instead of focusing on the one per month. And that is delivering a lot of value. When you go out to a hotel, you consume and you consume and you consume, and you don't care because you just want that experience. That is the value that you're receiving. And I believe that avant-garde management companies are realizing that is how they should be monetizing on the resident experience.
It's the future of this business.
Is the 2030 vision. Well, let's talk about your leadership style. I've of course, followed you for a while. We integrated with CINC before this partnership. You've led CINC through incredible growth during the last few years. What is one key leadership lesson that you've learned, and what advice would you have for other leaders or startup founders that are will be the future of the industry?
I should be asking you the same question because you built a great company right here where we sit.
I'm still learning.
Me too. I would simply say this: great people and a clear vision. And I'll use this us coming together of ONR and CINC as the perfect example. I'm not prouder of anything than the people that the team we've built, the people we've brought into CINC. That's the thing. That is absolutely what I'm most proud of. And a few years ago, we went through a mission statement exercise, make very clear, what is it we are here to do? Something people could get behind, believe in, and truly understand. To make it a great experience to live in a professionally managed community association. To make it a great experience to live in a professionally managed community association. That's what we said the mission of CINC was. And you know what happened? After people started seeing your product, they came knocking on my door and they said, Ryan, we need ONR to do that. They're the ones who saw and said, you can't make it a great experience to live in a professionally managed community association unless you make it a great experience to work in one. You can't make it a great experience to work in one unless you make it a great experience to live in one. You have to do both. Less tedious, more meaningful for both. And I mean, then I get to sit here and say, oh, look at this great idea. It wasn't my idea. It was our team's idea because we had a clear mission and really good people, and they brought the best thing we've done yet, which is to get together with ONR here tomorrow.
So I'm hearing open ears and open heart.
That's a good summary of that. That's a
Well,
good summary.
Ryan, thank you for the time. It's been lovely having you. I look forward to the next one.
It's going to be a lot of fun.